Spectraphon, Spectraphon. Spectraphon, 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 Spectraphon. Hello. The last featured patch, Digital Mono Synth, is one that I really like for a sort of pleasant, comforting patch experience. It has a number of different ways to tweak it while also staying mostly not too aggressive. It has some of the familiarity of classic modular patching with complex VCOs, even if the sound sometimes veers into specifically digital territory. For this one, let's go a little wilder. I encountered this patch a few months back in Jon's and Rodent's office. They were putting the finishing touches on it and sent me a text letting me know I had to come check it out. And I'm glad I did. I insisted that they document it so we could recreate it later. And here it is. King Krell, we called it. The core of this patch is sort of a feedback loop between the Spectraphon and the Morphagene. We place both sides of the Spectraphon in SAM, patch the A and B harmonic outputs to the left and right inputs of the Morphagene. Then we mult out the Morphagene's outputs to the A and B inputs of the Spectraphon. And we monitor the Morphagene's outputs. I'm going to patch them through the mimeophone. By turning up the input levels, we create a feedback loop straight away. This patch is going to utilize the CV outputs of the Spectraphon as well. If you didn't know, these outputs can be set up to send various clocked control voltage signals. By default, in SAO, they send sub-oscillators, while in SAM, they send envelope followers. But if we hold Shift and press the CV button, we can additionally choose stepped random, smooth random, and triangle LFO. These signals are all clocked by the clock input and can also take a tap tempo via the Shift button. For this patch, in true Krellic fashion, we will use the stepped random outputs on both sides. CVA, we will mult to its own slide parameter, as well as its volt per octave input, Morphagene's slide, and the side B slide on Spectraphon. For CVB, we will send it to Morphagene's gene size, as well as its own volt per octave. The Morphagene also has a CV output. It's an envelope follower by default, which we will send to both of the Spectraphon's partials controls. We're modulating side A in a subtle positive fashion from about 2 o'clock and side B in a subtle negative fashion from about 4 o'clock. We're going to set both sides pitch controls to about 9 o'clock. Morphagene's vari-speed to about 3 o'clock, turn down the Spectraphone's FM bus, and setting focus on both sides to a lowish value. To initiate this patch, we start with a new Morphagene reel. We'll record an empty splice of 5 to 10 seconds. And then we hit record again to initiate time lag accumulation. In other words, continually recording over this splice again and again. We'll set the tempi of the CV outputs by doing a slowish tap of the shift buttons. A feedback loop will get the sound started, but we could also inject sound in by momentarily switching into SAO and then back out. There are a number of possible variations on this patch. One that I had suggested is what I call the Mobius variation. Here we'd switch the Morphagene outputs so that the left is going to Spectraphone B and the right to input. This creates, instead of two parallel loops, a single continuous loop. With this variation, we can inject sound into all portions of the loop by switching into SAO on either side. Another variation would be using the Morphagene's end of splice gate to clock both sides of the Spectraphone, which will change the rate of the random generators as the Morphagene's gene size gets smaller and larger. The level of the inputs has a fairly large degree of influence on the overall sound of the patch because it's setting the amount of feedback that's happening in this system. Another thing I just thought of is that we could patch the outputs of the Morphagene into two channels of the X-pan, and this would let us listen to them a little less hard panned. course, a typical modular system is going to have a bunch of other modules in it besides just these two. Another potential one would be to slowly modulate the sound-on-sound of the Morphagene so that we hear it going back and forth between the output of the Spectraphon and the re-recorded output of the Morphagene. Have you used the Spectraphon and Morphagene together? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and happy patching.